Good morning and welcome to Edu Daily. I'm Nita as the presenter, and today we are taking a closer look at Palembang's light rail transit or LRT, Indonesia's first light rail system that has greatly transformed urban transportation since its launch in 2018. LRT or light rail transit continues to be the center of attention as a modern transportation solution in the city of Pempek, Palembang. Since its inauguration on August 1, 2018, this first LRT in Indonesia has assisted thousands of residents in their daily mobility. The local government and LRT Palembang management continue to make various efforts to improve services. Some recent improvements include expanded operational schedule. LRT now operates with a higher frequency to accommodate the surge in passenger numbers. Not only that, integration efforts with city transportation and Transmusi buses are being intensified to facilitate access for the public. Additional CCTV and security personnel have been deployed at various stations to improve passenger safety. Even with all its benefits, LRT Palembang still faces challenges such as fewer daily passengers than its fully capacity. To tackle this, the government is working on campaigns and promotions to encourage more people to use the LRT. To make LRT Palembang even better, the government plans to add more trains and extend the route to key areas. They are also working on improving the digital payment system to make transactions smoother for passengers. With these continuous upgrades, LRT Palembang is expected to become a top choice for city transportation, offering a more eco-friendly and efficient way to travel. The government remains committed to making it even better in the future. Great progress indeed. Now, let's hear more from Zia, who is standing by at the station with some live updates. Over to you, Zia.
Good morning, Nita and Efrem back in the studio. I'm Zia and I'm here in one of the LRT station in Palembang, and where the LRT continues to serve as the key transportation system for the city. And today we're taking a closer look at some of the latest development and ongoing improvement made by the government and the LRT management. And I'm here with Kak Hanafi, and he's the security here. And I'll be asking him a few questions to understand more about the current situation and the future plans of LRT Palembang. Selamat pagi, Kak.
Pagi.
Boleh dijelaskan nih, Kak, fasilitas apa aja sih yang ada saat ini di stasiun dan juga di dalam kereta?
Baiklah, saya jawab ya untuk fasilitas terutama di dalam stasiun ya. Untuk fasilitas di dalam stasiun ada eskalator untuk turun naik penumpang, lift untuk turun naik penumpang, ada juga toilet umum, toilet disabilitas, ruang menyusui, pos kesehatan, dan ada juga ruang tempat bersantai, seperti tempat pipi untuk bersantai-santai. Gitu.
Lalu untuk di dalam keretanya nih, Kak?
Untuk di dalam kereta yang saya ketahui ada juga tempat kursi prioritas untuk orang tua. Ada juga untuk alat bantu untuk apa? Pegangan penumpang ketika ada pas naik kereta kan. Kalau tempat bangkunya kepenuh. Ya, setahu saya itu aja.
Oke, makasih, Kak. Lalu apa sih tantangan yang Kakak hadapi nih di sini? Lalu apa juga solusinya?
Yang tantangan yang saya hadapi untuk ini kemungkinan mungkin ada komplain penumpang ya yang sering terjadi karena mungkin tentang bertanya-tanya tentang keberangkatan kereta. Ya, untuk mengatasinya kami di sini Satpam selalu siap melayani dengan ramah dan sabar, tentunya juga atas komplain penumpang, dan juga harus tetap semangat dan melayani dengan 7S. Itu aja.
Oke, baik, Kak. Lalu kedepannya nih, apakah bakalan ada rencana untuk pengembangan baru dari sisi rute dan juga fasilitas?
Untuk kedepannya, untuk saat ini saya belum mengetahui karena belum ada perintah juga dari atasan. Untuk saat ini ya jalanin aja seperti yang ini.
Oke, makasih banyak Pak atas informasi dan waktunya.
Oke, sama-sama. Nah, jadi lah.
The LRT management is eager to keep on trying their best to improve every facilities in here to ensure all of the passengers' comfort. Even though they face some problems, they are able to fix the issues, and they will be keep trying their best in the future. That was a quick look into the ongoing efforts to improve in LRT station. Back to you in the studio, Nita.
Thank you, Zia, for the live report. That wraps up today's segment on Palembang's LRT developments. This has been Edu Daily. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Edu Daily. I am Sakira, and I will guide you to the next few hours in this program. And this afternoon, we're taking you to a special place that's serving one of the Palembang's cooler things, as Durian Bukit.
Durian is one of the seasonal fruits, which is the most popular in Indonesia. This fruit, called as king of fruits, it only bears once a year from June until August and December until February. That is why durian is highly sought by its lovers. In Palembang, you can enjoy this fruit anytime through Es Durian Bukit. The shop has 4 branches, which is in Bukit Lama, Bukit Sangkal, Silabranti, and Sukabangun II. Opened in 12 until 18 waktu Indonesia Barat. This dessert is available at 12,000 rupiah for small size, 15,000 rupiah for medium size, and 20,000 rupiah for large size. You can buy whatever size, but if it is your first time, you recommended to buy the small size first. Ice cream wrapped in durian sauce, then topped with sweetened condensed milk and abundant cheese, makes it sweet and creamy flavor. Be an unforgettable experience. So, what are you waiting for? Let's get it now!
To learn more about Es Durian Bukit, we spoke directly with person behind the idea. This is the report by Nadia. Good afternoon, Nadia. Alright, good afternoon everyone. Today we're visiting a place that's said to be a paradise for durian lovers. And here we are with the owner, Kak. Siapa namanya, Kak?
Rally.
Ini bisnis yang sangat next level ya, Kak. Karena orang-orang tuh biasanya menikmati durian hanya dengan memakannya langsung. Nah, itu gimana ceritanya? Kok bisa kepikiran untuk mengolah durian menjadi es?
Sebenarnya ide durian ke es ini bukan ide baru sih Mbak, karena sebelumnya udah pernah buka di sebelum 2017 sebenarnya, tapi karena lain hal sempat tutup, akhirnya di 2023 kemarin memutusin untuk buka kembali.
Oke, wah ini tuh asal-usul yang sangat menarik ya, sampai bisa mendirikan beberapa cabang. Waktu pertama kali nyoba es durian sendiri itu susah nggak sih Kak waktu buatnya? Durian itu kan tricky ya, baunya terus teksturnya tuh macem-macem. Itu ada kendala nggak sih Kak?
Sebenarnya kalau untuk dari duriannya kita udah pakai yang frozen Mbak, yang pure daging durian gitu kan. Nah paling yang bikin ribet di awal-awal itu untuk nge-mix si durian ini dipakein apa gitu. Awal-awal itu kita pakai es batu yang dihancurin gitu, tapi kayak kurang cocok itu, akhirnya memutusin untuk pakai es krim bagian bawahnya. Tapi topping dan lain-lain, keju, pernah juga coba Oreo tapi kurang cocok, akhirnya cuma pakai keju sekarang.
Jadi kayak beberapa kali rombak akhirnya nemu.
Beberapa kali rombak, kurang tepat juga gitu.
Oke. Terakhir ini Kak, kalau ngomongin soal mimpi, kira-kira mau dibawa kemana es durian Bukit ini ke depan? Apa harapan yang semoga bisa terwujud?
Kalau untuk sekarang sih lebih ke ngejaga konsistensi rasa sama produk sih Mbak, karena untuk per hari ini sebenarnya udah ada 4 cabang di Bukit, Pelaju, Perum sama Sukabangun. Nah paling kedepannya ngejaga si 4 outlet ini dulu sih.
Oke, terima kasih Kak atas waktunya. Semoga apa yang diharapkan bisa tercapai segera.
Amin, terima kasih Mbak.
And for those of you drooling while watching this, just come straight over here as Durian Bukit. The taste is authentic and the freshness stick with you. Alright, thank you everyone. My name is Nadia. Back to the studio.
Alright, thank you, Nadia. Sound interesting, doesn't it? So, if you're looking for a way to cool down this afternoon in Palembang, be sure to try a bowl of es durian bukit. I am Sakira Nadia. Thank you for watching and enjoy your afternoon.
Good morning. I'm Serly and you're watching Edu Daily. Martabak Har is well known as Palembang's famous traditional food. Its creamy look and savory taste make this dish so special and loved by many people.
Martabak Har is a traditional Palembang dish that was established in 1947. The name Har comes from the initials of its founder, Haji Abdul Razak, an Indian immigrant who settled in Palembang. He introduced a unique martabak recipe that combines Indian flavors with distinctive local Palembang touches. Since then, Martabak Har has grown in popularity and has become an iconic dish loved by many people. What makes Martabak Har special is its filling of chicken eggs or duck eggs cooked using a special technique that creates a soft texture inside yet crispy on the outside. This dish is served with a thick curry sauce containing diced potatoes and beef, offering a rich, savory flavor that leaves a lasting impression. In addition to martabak, the restaurant also offers a variety of other delicious Palembang specialties. To enjoy this legendary dish, visitors can go to the main outlet located at Jenderal Sudirman Street, 17 Ilir, right in front of the Agung Mosque, Palembang, near the Ampera Bridge. Or another branch is also located at Jenderal Sudirman Street, but in Simpang Skip, Palembang. As a signature Palembang dish, Martabak Har continues to uphold its authentic taste. The combination of traditional spices, unique cooking techniques, and rich curry sauce makes it a must-try culinary experience.
Let's hear more about Martabak Har from Atika, Edu Daily reporter.
Thank you, Serly. I'm Atika here at Martabak Har, one of Palembang's legendary food destinations. Today, we are going to learn more about its story and future plans. Let's find out together. Selamat siang, Pak. Ya, dengan Bapak siapa? Kalau boleh tahu?
Sabarudin.
Oke, Pak. Baik. Baik, Pak. Boleh tolong diceritakan sedikit tentang awal mula berdirinya Martabak Har ini?
Kalau berdirinya kan sudah terpampang itu, yang pastinya itu kurang jelas lah. Intinya ya mah itulah terpampang. Itu.
Yang 1947
Ya,
itu ya, Pak?
1947.
Oke, Pak. Baik, Pak. Pertanyaan selanjutnya ya, Pak. Apa strategi Martabak Har ini agar tetap relevan di tengah banyaknya kuliner modern yang terus bermunculan?
Ya, intinya kita itu segala sesuatunya tidak ada perubahan. Bukan dari cara masak dan cara pembuatannya nggak ada perubahan sama sekali.
Ya.
Disitulah.
Tetap terjaga ya, Pak?
Insya Allah tetap terjaga.
Oke, baik, Pak. Selanjutnya, apakah Martabak Har ini sudah memiliki rencana untuk membuka cabang baru di luar kota Palembang ini, Pak?
Saat ini belum ada, soalnya itu kan dari bos.
Oh, iya sih, Pak.
Jadi
Oke,
kita
Pak.
nggak ini ke
Baik,
saat
Pak.
ini belum
Saat ini belum
tahu.
ada.
Ya.
Oke, baik, Pak.
Ya.
Terima kasih ya, Pak.
Ya.
Ya, makasih banyak, Pak. Alright, from what we have gathered, Martabakar remains deeply rooted in its rich tradition, while also keeping an eye on future opportunities. Whether it's expanding to new locations or staying competitive among modern culinary trends, Martabakar continues to evolve. That's all for now from Palembang. Back to you again, Shirley, in the studio. Thank you very much.
That was the story about Martabakar, a delicious part of Palembang's culture. I'm Shirley. Thank you for watching Edu Daily. See you next time.
Good afternoon, viewers. You are watching Edu Daily with me, Salsa, your presenter for today. We have an interesting story prepared for you. Fresh, sweet, and full of distinctive flavor, corn ice has now become everyone's favorite local drink. Es Jagung is a dessert drink made from sweet corn originally from Banjarmasin, South Kalimantan. This drink is very popular in Palembang. Es Jagung consists of corn porridge combined with sweetened condensed milk, corn kernels, sugar syrup, and shaved ice. It has a sweet and refreshing taste. In Palembang, Es Jagung became widely known after the arrival of the Es Jagung Aisyah motor cart in front of MDP Simpang Polda. Originally from Jambi, the business opened a branch in Palembang in 2019 and began to gain popularity in 2022. Currently, Es Jagung Aisyah has 2 branches and sells up to 800 cups per day, generating a daily revenue of around 4 million rupiah. Its affordable price, ranging from 5,000 to 10,000 rupiah, makes it accessible to all. The most popular menu is Es Jagung with cheese topping, priced at 7,000 rupiah. With its sweet taste, affordable price, and viral popularity on social media, Es Jagung Aisyah has become iconic and must-try dessert in Palembang. After seeing the corn ice phenomenon, we'll take a closer look at how this popular drink has developed amid current food trends. Now, we're connected with Nabila, our reporter, who will give us a live update from the field. Hello Nabila, how's the situation there with the trending corn ice?
Thank you for the opportunity, Salsa. I'm Nabila, the reporter who will guide you through today's coverage. Right now, I'm standing in the front of Es Jagung Aisyah, located right next to the MDP. As we all know, Es Jagung Aisyah is one of the most popular drinks in Palembang city. And now, I'm here with Mr. Dendi, the seller of Es Jagung Aisyah. Halo, selamat siang Pak, bagaimana kabarnya?
Alhamdulillah baik.
Alhamdulillah baik ya Pak. Perkenalkan saya Nabila, reporter untuk membantu sesi wawancara hari ini. Saya sangat senang sekali bisa mengobrol langsung bersama Bapak. Kalau boleh perkenalan sedikit terlebih dahulu, boleh Pak?
Oke, perkenalkan nama saya Randy Saputra Wijaya. Umur?
Bapak ini di sini jadi apa?
Saya di sini sebagai pegawai keuangan ya.
Oke, baik. Saya mau menanya beberapa pertanyaan nih Kak terkait penjualan Es Aisyah ini. Kalau boleh tahu usaha ini sejak tahun berapa Kak? Terus kenapa bisa kepikiran buat untuk jualan es jagung ini?
Karena kan mulainya dari sekitar tahun 2014. Kepikirannya karena kan kita melihat dari cuaca Indonesia itu kan sangat panas. Jadi ya mungkin untuk jualan es mungkin itu salah satu yang terbaik.
Baik, terima kasih Kak. Lalu dalam sebuah usaha ini kan Kak pasti ada kendala tuh, ada tantangan. Menurut Bapak tantangan untuk usaha ini apa Pak?
Tantangan kayak gimana?
Kendala mungkin dari bahan pangan yang mulai naik atau apa Pak? Atau kendalanya yang beli tuh semakin sedikit atau gimana?
Oh, ya tentunya makin tahun kan makin sedikit ini aja mungkin agak berkurang dari omset biasanya kan. Nah, ada lagi kalau misalkan tantangan yang cuacanya kayak hujan gitu mungkin nggak habis. Ya, mungkin sekitar gitu.
Ini aja kendala ya Kak ya. Oke. Lalu apa alasan Bapak buat milih lokasi di sini dan apa sih Pak pengaruhnya dengan lokasi ini?
Yang pertama karena dekat sama rumah, terus strategis tempatnya. Mungkin juga ada banyak pelanggan tahu posisinya ada di sini kan.
Alasan utama itu karena strategis ya Pak ya. Oke. Baik, terima kasih Pak atas kesempatan berbicara langsungnya. Semoga usaha Aisyah ini akan terus berjalan lancar dan
Amin,
sukses
amin,
ke
amin.
depannya. Alright viewers, from conversation with Mr. Dandy, we've learned that es jagung Aisyah is not just a delicious and popular drink, but also has a story of hard work behind it. From the idea of starting a business to the challenges faced along the way, all of this shows that this business was built with determination and effort. Hopefully, it will continue grow and remain a favorite drink in Palembang. Alright viewers, that's all the information I can share for today. I'm Nabila, signing off, back to the studio with Salsa. Alright, thank you Nabila for the live report. That wraps up today's topic. Stay tuned for more interesting stories on Edu Daily. I'm Salsa, see you next time.
Good morning and welcome to Edu Daily. I'm Novara as the presenter. Available from 10 to 4, Red Bean Ice becomes Palembang's most beloved treat to try. Its cold, mouth-watering bean is perfect to beat the heat. In the heart of Palembang's bustling streets, a sweet tradition offers a refreshing escape from the tropical heat. To beat the heat, we are introducing es kacang merah Mamat, a beloved local dessert. Well everyone, here are the ingredients. First, a layer of grass jelly with its gentle herbal bite blends the glass. Next comes with slightly tangy fermented cassava, followed by soft sweet red beans. Warm fragrant coconut milk is poured over these layers. Then a drizzle of cocoa pandan syrup adds extra sweetness. A heap of freshly shaved ice cools everything down. And it's first topped with a generous pour syrup and last splash of condensed milk ties all the flavors together in creamy harmony. Don't miss es kacang Mamat at Lapangan Hatta. Since 1998, Mr. Mamat has blended quality beans with grass jelly and fermented cassava, then pops it with red syrup, shaved ice, and condensed milk for a legendary flavor. More than a dessert, es kacang merah is a symbol of Palembang's rich culinary heritage. Next time you are in Sumatra, couldn't miss this sweet, creamy tradition. Mouth-watering, isn't it? Red Bean Ice from Palembang never fails to delight. To uncover how this simple dessert became legendary, let's go live to our field reporter, Revania in Palembang. Alright, Revania, what's happening on the ground?
Thank you Novaya, I'm Revania reporting from Kebun Manggi Street in the Kepandian Baru area of Palembang City, right in front of the Es Kacang Mamat stall, which has been serving its famous dessert since the 1960s. With me today is Mr. Ahmad, who will share the ins and outs of this beloved business. Selamat siang Pak Ahmad, bisa Bapak ceritakan sedikit bagaimana asal mula berdirinya Es Kacang Mamat ini yang kita ketahui udah berdiri sejak tahun 1988.
Awal pertama itu masalahnya keliling dulu jualan. Keliling, sudah keliling itu, kemudian masuklah ke sini jualan. Harganya bertahap. Dulu zaman dulu harganya sekitar 500 rupiah. Naik terus tahap 7,5, 12,5, 15. Sekarang sudah mencapai harga es Mamat 18.000. Awal pertama kali yang berdiri es Mamat ini sekitar 1988.
Untuk cabangnya sendiri itu?
Ya dulu cabangnya banyak dulu, ada di Jasera atau di sana banyak. Cuman semenjak zaman COVID kemarin tuh udah nggak jual lagi tutup. Cuman ada di sini dan juga ada di sini anaknya jualan di selebriti, di belakang selebriti. Cuman itu aja.
Dalam era kuliner yang terus berkembang ini, bagaimana sih es kacang Mamat ini mempertahankan cita rasanya?
Ya harus, sebab kan rasa es mami jangan sampai berubah. Dari pertama sampai sekarang tetap dijamin itunya, rasa dan kualitas mutu kacangnya itu tidak sampai berubah.
Nah, akhir kata, apa sih pesan yang mau Bapak sampaikan ke generasi muda sekarang agar melestarikan makanan tradisional Palembang, terutama es kacang merah ini?
Untuk melestarikan masalah es Mamat ini, kemungkinan banyak orang-orang yang istilahnya tuh hobi ibaratnya Mas Mamat. Setiap hari sering nanyakan es Mamat, anak-anak sekolah, kadang-kadang udah kuliah, sini semua datang semua sini. Jadi kami sebagai penjualnya harus mempertahankan istilahnya nikmatnya esnya itu harus kita tahankan. Itu aja.
Baik, terima kasih banyak Bapak atas wawancara yang sangat menyenangkan ini. Kalau kita bicara tentang es kacang Mamat ini, rasanya tidak ada duanya. That wraps up our interview with es kacang Mamat, the famous Palembang dessert that kept its great taste and tradition alive for decades. Big thanks to Mr. Ahmad for sharing these wonderful stories, and to our viewers, when you are in Palembang, be sure to try es kacang Mamat, one of a kind flavors. I'm Reva, reporting live from Palembang, back to the studio.
Thank you, Revania. It's fascinating to hear how dedication and tradition have made es kacang Mamat a true Palembang icon. That wraps up today's edition of Edu Daily program. I'm Novaya, wishing you a sweet morning ahead. See you next time for more delicious discoveries from across Indonesia. Good morning.
Good evening and welcome to Edu Daily. I'm Visti as the presenter. Tonight, we delve into the delicious food of Kemplang, a Palembang traditional culinary. We will explore about its history, its unique texture, and the ingredients. Stay tuned!
Palembang, a city rich in history and culture, offers a diverse range of delicious culinary delight. Among the many local specialties, Kemplang stands out as a must-have souvenir. More than just a cracker, Kemplang holds unique stories and flavors, representing the culinary richness of South Sumatra. Kemplang, a thin, crispy cracker made from fish and tapioca flour, has a long history in Palembang. While its exact origins remains undocumented, Palembang has been an integral part of Palembang's culinary culture for generations. It's a traditional preparation process passed down through generations, as a testament to the resilience and preservation of Palembang's culinary traditions. The recipe and techniques are kept secret by each family that makes it, resulting in unique variation in taste and texture in every place. Kemplang offers more than just savory and crunchy flavors. Its thin and crispy texture provides a delightful sensation of the tongue. The distinctive aroma of fish that wafts through the air as the Kemplang is fried adds to its appeal. The combination of savory flavors from the fish, a hint of sweetness from the tapioca, and the distinctive aroma of Kemplang creates an unforgettable culinary experience. Kemplang is not just a snack, but also a memorable souvenir from Palembang, bringing it home as a moment will remind you of the enjoyable culinary experience in the city. Share the deliciousness of Kemplang with your family and friends, and tell them the unique story behind this crispy cracker.
We have learned about this history and ingredients of Kemplang, but what is really like to create this culinary masterpiece? Let's go to Anna. Thank you, Isti and Studio. And I'm Anna. Today we are in this beautiful city of Palembang. And today we will like to learn all about kemplang, this amazing food, traditional food from Palembang. We with the supervisor of the pempek and kemplang lala. Mbak, boleh wawancara? Ya. Bagaimana cara pembuatan kemplang dipertahankan hingga saat ini? Cara penjualannya gitu.
Cara penjualannya. Yang nomor satu itu pasti kualitas Kak kitanya. Kita selalu memberikan kualitas yang terbaik. Dari ikannya terus bahan pangannya dehnya.
Oke, ya. Terima kasih Kak. Apa saja yang membuat kemplang di sini lebih menarik gitu dari kemplang-kemplang lain gitu?
Kita bermacam-macam ikan Kak kita pakainya. Dari ikan kakap, ikan gabus, sama ikan tenggiri.
Bisa ceritakan sedikit tentang sejarah dan kapan berdirinya pempek dan kerupuk lala ini?
Kalau berdirinya dia 2007 Kak.
Oh 2007 tuh. Aja ya Kak. Terima kasih banyak gitu. Betul dengan Kak siapa ini?
Risma.
Thank you. And wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much for Kak Risma who already shared about the kemplang in Palembang. See you.
And that's all the time we have for exploration of kemplang, from its rich history, its unique texture, and delightful taste. See you in the Edu Daily program for fascinating stories, and goodbye!
Good morning and welcome to Edu Daily. I'm Bahulina and I'll be with you today looking at the Balaputradewa Museum, one of the historical places in Palembang. We will find many stories and cultural treasures from the past.
Balaputradewa Museum is an important historical place in Palembang. It holds special collections that showcase the rich history, culture, and heritage of Sriwijaya in South Sumatra. When visitors enter the museum, they will see various archaeological collections such as inscriptions and statues from the Sriwijaya Kingdom. One of the most fascinating artifacts is the Amaravati Buddha statue, which proves that Sriwijaya was once a major center for Buddhist learning. Additionally, the museum displays other ancient items, including pottery and traditional weapons. These collections provide insights into how people in Sriwijaya lived in the past. Besides historical artifacts, the museum has cultural collections that represent the diverse traditions of South Sumatra. Visitors can explore traditional customs from different ethnic groups, each reflecting unique heritage and craftsmanship. It also displays household tools from centuries ago, along with mini models of traditional houses like the iconic Limas house, rich in cultural and philosophical meaning. One of the main attractions of the museum is a full-sized Limas house that visitors can enter. Made from strong wood, it has carvings that show Palembang's traditional art. The house has several levels that show the social class of its residents. Inside, visitors can find traditional furniture and decorations. The museum is open Tuesday to Sunday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. and is closed on Mondays and national holidays. Entrance fees are affordable: IDR 2,000 for children, IDR 3,000 for students, and IDR 5,000 for adults. Group rates can be arranged with the staff. Tickets can be purchased directly at the entrance, and in some cases, online booking may also be available for your convenience. More than just a museum, Balaputradewa is a gateway to South Sumatra's living heritage, from ancient artifacts to cultural treasures. It keeps the spirit of Sriwijaya alive for every visitor.
Right now, one of our team members, Grace, is at the Balaputradewa Museum to share more information. Let's head over to her and find out what she's discovered.
Thank you, Bahulina. Right now, I'm at the Balaputradewa Museum, a place that holds many historical and cultural items from South Sumatra. And right now, I'm with one of the tour guide in this museum, Ibu Meriati Saragi, who will share some information about this museum. Selamat siang, Ibu.
Selamat siang.
Baik, bisa Ibu jelaskan secara singkat tentang sejarah berdirinya Museum Balaputra Dewa ini?
Sejarah berdirinya Museum Balaputra Dewa ini awal berdirinya pada tahun 1977, diresmikan 5 November 1984. Pada tahun 1990 diabadikan namanya menjadi Museum Balaputra Dewa, di mana Balaputra Dewa itu diambil dari nama seorang raja pada masa kerajaan Sriwijaya yang dianggap berjaya mengangkat kejayaan Sriwijaya.
Oh, jadi memang museum ini sudah cukup lama berdiri dan punya peran penting dalam menjaga warisan sejarah ini ya, Bu ya?
Benar.
Baik, selanjutnya apa saja koleksi utama yang menjadi daya tarik di Museum Balaputra Dewa ini, Bu?
Kita cukup bangga ya dengan koleksi yang ada di Museum Negeri Sumatera Selatan ini, di mana koleksi-koleksi warisan sejarah dan budaya ini sangat bermakna tinggi, mempunyai nilai historis, bahwa di dalam setiap periode itu kita punya koleksi, misalnya dari masa prasejarah ada koleksi arca ibu dan hukum anak seperti yang tadi itu, ada koleksi batu gajah, ada koleksi songket panggang, ada koleksi rumah adat yaitu rumah limas tradisional Sumatera Selatan.
Berarti koleksinya di museum ini cukup beragam juga ya, Bu ya. Jadi pengunjung bisa melihat banyak sisi dari sejarah dan budaya Sumatera Selatan di sini.
Iya.
Nah, lalu kalau dari sisi perawatan, seperti apa upaya yang dilakukan pihak museum untuk menjaga kondisi semua koleksi ini?
Perawatan koleksi ini memang dilakukan secara rutin setiap tahunnya, karena salah satu dari definisi museum kita jelas bahwa museum ini melestarikan benda-benda bersejarah ini, jadi tetap kita jaga, kita rawat, dan perlakuannya kita perlakukan seperti tetap menjaga bagaimana keaslian benda ini tetap terjaga dengan baik.
Oh, berarti memang dijaga benar-benar. Baik Bu, mungkin itu saja. Terima kasih atas waktunya dan informasi yang berharga ini kepada penonton. Alright, from the interview, we can see that the Balaputra Dewa Museum is a place that helps keeps the history and culture of South Sumatra. Its attractions like the Rumah Limas House and Buddha statues, along with regular care and maintenance, make this museum an important place to learn about and appreciate our heritage. That was our interview from the Balaputra Dewa Museum. We hope this information inspires you to explore more about our local history and support cultural places like this. I'm Grace, reporting live from Palembang, back to the studio.
Thank you, Grace, for sharing the information. That's all for today. I'm Bahulina. Thank you for watching. See you in the next Edu Daily program. Next, we're highlighting one of Indonesia's most beloved traditional food, pempek. Originating from Palembang, pempek is not just an icon but also a reflection of the city's culture and heritage. If you walk around Palembang, you'll often smell freshly fried pempek from street vendors and small restaurants. There are different kinds like pempek kapal selam, which is a large version filled with a whole egg, or pempek adaan, which is smaller and crispy. But the real star is the cuko, a sauce made with palm sugar and vinegar, garlic, and chili. It's sweet, sour, and a little spicy, and it brings out the rich flavor of the fish cakes. One of the best places to explore this local delicacy is Kampung Pempek Street, a well-known area in Palembang that's become a huge for pempek lovers. Along this street, visitors can find dozens of stalls and small shops, each with their own take on the classic dish. Walking down the street, you'll be greeted by the mouth-watering aroma of sizzling pempek and the lively buzz of locals and tourists alike enjoying this beloved snack. Today,
pempek is more than just a traditional snack, it's also a big business. Many local brands now ship frozen pempek across Indonesia and even abroad, allowing people far from Palembang to still enjoy its signature flavor. For tourists, eating pempek is a must when visiting Palembang. Whether you stop by a famous restaurant like Pempek Lala or take a walk down vibrant Kampung Pempek Street, you're sure to get a taste of the city's rich culinary heritage. So, if you ever find yourself in Palembang, don't miss the chance to bite into a piece of freshly made pempek, drizzle it generously with chuko, and enjoy a dish that has been bringing people together for centuries.
Our reporter is standing live at Kampung Pempek Street, a famous area where dozens of pempek sellers come together, offering a wide variety of flavors and styles. Let's head over to the report.
Thank you, Nadira, in the studio for that update. Now, I'm Alisa, and here live from the famous Kampung Pempek Street, and I'm in one of the most famous restaurants in Kampung Pempek Street, which is Pempek Lala. And today I'm going to take a closer look into what makes this restaurant so special. Now, today I'm with one of the supervisor of Pempek Lala. May I know your name, sir? Rifki. Alright, Pak Rifki. Rifki. Alright, Pak Rifki. Bisa diceritakan, Pempek Lala ini kan sudah menjadi salah satu restoran pempek yang cukup terkenal ya. Bisa diceritakan sedikit tentang sejarahnya dan kapan pertama kali dibuka?
Iya, nama Pempek Lalanya sudah dari tahun 2000-an kayaknya. Hampir jalan 19 tahunan ya. Aman untuk kualitas pempeknya memang dijamin kayak gitu. Memang harganya murahan tapi bintang 5 rasanya, Mbak.
Baik, lalu tentu saja setiap restoran pempek itu memiliki ciri khas sendiri ya Pak. Nah kira-kira apa yang membuat Pempek Lala ini berbeda dari pempek lain?
Aman untuk kami kualitasnya kami jamin ikannya kami makan ikan gabung sama ikan tenggiri, dan juga tidak makan ikan kakap enggak kita. Ada pempek premium sama pempek ikan gabus kita.
Oh, baik Pak, baik. Lalu untuk pertanyaan terakhir, Pempek Lala ini tidak hanya dikenal oleh warga lokal, tetapi para wisatawan juga ya. Nah, bagaimana menurut Bapak pendapat tentang para wisatawan? Apakah apa yang mereka suka dari Pempek Lala ini kira-kira?
Karena bisa dipakum untuk oleh-oleh itu lebih aman dan jadi frozen. Atau juga memang orang-orang alhamdulillah ada brand Pempek Lala ini orang untuk oleh-oleh untuk acara lebaran tuh memang khusus untuk oleh-oleh dan yang ada di sini. Tapi itu lengkap, ada pempeknya, ada kempangnya, lengkap, kita ada tekwan, bisa dibawa pulang.
Bisa dibawa pulang.
Iya, siap.
Baik, terima kasih ya Pak. Alright, that is the explanation and also the story for what makes Pempek Lala so special. It's clear that this place is very loved by many people. I'm here, Alisa, and reporting live back to you, Nadira.
Thank you for that delicious insight. Clearly, Kampung Pempek Street not only preserved the tradition of pempek, but also breathes new life into Palembang's culinary tourism. Stay tuned for more cultural and culinary stories, only here at Edu Daily News.
Good afternoon, I'm Dista as a presenter and welcome to Edu Daily News. In the heart of Palembang, the Sultan Mahmud Badarudin II Museum stands as a proud symbol of South Sumatra rich history. Once a royal place, the museum today preserves precious artifacts that tell the story of region's cultural heritage.
Sultan Mahmud Badaruddin II Museum is not just a repository of precious artifacts, it is a window into a past full of heroic stories and cultural pride. The museum is named after Sultan Mahmud Badaruddin II, a great Palembang leader known for his struggle against colonialism. Sultan Mahmud Badaruddin II was a respected figure for his courage in defending Palembang's sovereignty from Dutch and British attacks in the early 19th century. His name became a symbol of resistance and pride for the people of Palembang. Sultan Mahmud Badaruddin II Museum has a wide collection of historical artifacts that reflect the rich culture and long history of Palembang. Some of the main collections that can be found in the museum include archaeological artifacts, traditional weapons, traditional textiles, household utensils, and miniature Kota Besar Fort. Each artifact is accompanied by detailed information to help visitors understand its historical context. These exhibitions are designed to educate and entertain visitors from all walks of life. Sultan Mahmud Badaruddin II Museum is a great place to visit for students, researchers, and general travelers. Visitors can enjoy guided tours to get in-depth explanation about each collection and the stories behind them. In addition, the museum often holds cultural events such as traditional art exhibition or Palembang music performances. The museum's strategic location makes it easily accessible from various other tourist attractions around the Musi River, such as Kota Besar Fort and Ampera Bridge. After visiting the museum, visitors can continue their journey by enjoying Palembang culinary or relaxing by the river.
Right now, one of our team members, Skyla, is at the Sultan Mahmud Badaruddin II Museum to share more information. Let's head over to her and find out what she's discovered.
Thank you, Dista. Today, we invite you to the journey of the rich culture of the Sultanate Palembang by visiting the Sultan Mahmud Badaruddin II Museum. As is Pak Heri. Selamat siang, Pak Heri. Sebelum pertama-tama, saya ingin bertanya, menurut Bapak, coba ceritakan sedikit bagaimana museum ini bisa terbentuk sebenarnya.
Dari museum ini, sebelum museum ini berdiri, ini dulu Presiden dibangun pada tahun 1823. Selesai 1825, jadi rumah ini ke 2025 sudah 202 tahun. Nah, rumah ini termasuk di Undang-Undang Cagar Budaya, dilindungi oleh Cagar Budaya di bawah naungan Dinas Kebudayaan Kota Palembang. Pada tahun 2010 itu Undang-Undang 11 tahun 2010 perubahan ditetapkan sebagai Museum Hutan Baru.
Baik, menurut Bapak, apakah di museum tersebut ada koleksi yang menurut Bapak menarik untuk wisatawan lihat?
Kalau koleksi itu banyak, menceritakan koleksi termasuk koleksi Palembang Sriwijaya, Sudarto Sriwijaya itu koleksi Telaga Batu. Telaga Batu itu sama prasasti yang lain ya kayak Tangtuo, Baru, terus ini prasasti Kedukan Bukit. Nah, dari prasasti Kedukan Bukit itu yang menceritakan tentang awal mulanya Kerajaan Sriwijaya di Palembang yang berusia sekarang Palembang 1342 ditetapkan dari prasasti Kedukan Bukit ini yang 1605 sampai.
Dan apakah manfaat yang bisa kita dapat sebagai generasi muda ketika kita mengunjungi museum tersebut?
Harapan kita manfaatnya banyak. Dengan adanya hadirnya museum ini sebagai media ilmu pengetahuan, menggali tentang sejarah Sriwijaya, jadi menggali budaya-budaya kita.
Terima kasih atas waktunya untuk menyampaikan museum tersebut. Terima kasih. Everything we've heard today, we know that the Sultan Mahmud Badaruddin II Museum connects the past and present in a meaningful way. We know that it's not just a place to share history, but it's a place to experience on it, reflect on it, and to be inspired by it. The story leads to the places like this. Thank you for joining with us today. I'm Kayla, reporting live from Palembang. Back to the studio.
That's glimpse of the history house within the Sultan Mahmud Badaruddin II Museum, a living reminder of the past inspiring future generations. Stay with us for more updates next time.
Welcome viewers back again with me, Hakim, on the Edu Daily program. Today we discuss Tekwan, a Palembang culinary specialty that is rich in flavor. Stay with us.
It's a place where warmth and intimacy are felt, in keeping with the philosophy of Bekotek sama kawan, which means short time with friends. More than just a place to eat, it's a place where families and friends gather to enjoyable of rich Tekwan. From the tables with customers to the casual chatter in every corner, it all reflects how embedded this dish is in people's lives. It's an atmosphere that makes every visit to a Tekwan restaurant more than just a culinary experience, but an ongoing story of togetherness. Tekwan is made from a mixture of ground mackerel meat, then mixed with tapioca flour, water, egg white, and salt. All the ingredients are mixed until smooth, so that the texture is chewy and soft when eaten. After that, the dough is pinched little by little and immediately put into boiling water. Let it float as a sign that the Tekwan is done. The soup is made from shrimp stock with mushroom stock for flavoring, then cooked with garlic, shallots, spring onion, soup leaves, white pepper, and sedap malam flowers, putting a distinctive flavor. To make it more delicious, Tekwan is usually served with vermicelli, ear mushroom, sliced jicama, and fried shallots. A squeeze of lime adds a refreshing tanginess, while chili sauce brings a spicy kick.
To learn more about how Tekwan is prepared and why it's called special place in Palembang's culinary heritage, let's go live to our reporter on the scene. Thank you for the possibility, Hakim. Right now, I'm at the home of Tekwan maker Resgina Wati, the person behind the delicious Tekwan. Let's take a look at her experience in making Tekwan. Kalau boleh tahu, biasanya tantangan apa yang sering Ibu rasakan saat membuat Tekwan sendiri di rumah?
Yang paling sering kendalanya itu dari ikan giling. Ya, dari ikan itu kadang-kadang kan kita beli tidak langsung kita buat. Jadi begitu sudah beli taruh di freezer, berapa hari kemudian baru kita buat. Jadi pas ikannya sudah kita cairkan dari posisi beku, ternyata ikannya sudah kurang bagus. Jadi kalau dibuat Tekwan hasilnya kurang bagus juga. Kemudian bau. Jadi daging ikan kalau sudah tidak fresh lagi, itu hasil Tekwannya jadi beraroma tidak sedap, kurang sedap ya.
Baik, lalu hal-hal positif apa saja yang Ibu rasakan dari pengalaman membuat Tekwan sendiri?
Yang pertama yang pastinya, karena kita buat sendiri kita tahu komposisi bahan-bahannya, sehingga nilai gizinya itu bisa kita tinggikan proteinnya, jadi dibanyakin telurnya, terus dari sagu atau tapiokanya kita kurangi gitu ya, rasanya lebih enak dan lebih sehat. Kemudian dengan kita membuat sendiri, kita mengajarkan anak-anak di rumah untuk tidak sering jajan, tidak selalu jajan di luar. Jadi untuk makanan sehat kita bisa buat sendiri di rumah.
Terakhir, Bu, bahan-bahan untuk membuat Tekwan apakah sekarang mudah didapatkan?
Untuk tepung tapioka sendiri, telur atau seasoning dan pelengkap yang lain itu tersedia di warung atau minimarket sekitar rumah. Untuk ikan sendiri, ikan giling, kita harus ke pasar, membeli ke pasar. Tidak ada di sekitar sini yang jualan atau nyetok dari ikan giling tersebut.
Sungguh menarik mendengar pengalaman Ibu dalam membuat tekwan sendiri. Terima kasih atas waktu dan kesediaannya, Bu.
Sama-sama, semoga bermanfaat ya.
From the interview, we can see that the challenge of making a tekwan make it a rewarding experience and a reserving is special. That's all for today interview about tekwan. Don't forget to try it and test for yourself. I'm Sabita, back in the studio with Hakim. That's our coverage of tekwan, Palembang's specialty rich in flavor and tradition. See you next time with other interesting stories on the Edu Daily program.